Exactly 4 days after a powerful storm hit central Virginia, there are still a couple thousand people without power. Some amazing video caught on camera. A group of men risked their lives to save a woman from her car as it was being washed away by flash flood waters in Maryland. Metro has removed more than 160 buses from service following 2 incidents in which the engines cut off at low speed. I don't think Virginia fans could take any more of these close finishes. Thankfully, they don't have to. They are now the 2019 national champions. We have some breaking news now. Richmond police need your help to identify the man on your screen who they say robbed the Wells Fargo Bank on West Broad Street near Staples Mills Road. Richmond native and tennis great Arthur Ashe made history on this day 42 years ago when he became the first black man to take home a Wimbledon title. It was a big night for Democrats, as we've been saying throughout this hour, but it was also a big night for women, Dr. Bob.
Oh, absolutely. Women Democrats had a huge night.
CBS 6 has learned that the 17-year-old was wanted out in Henrico County for robbery. Another close call in Powhatan today as firefighters urging drivers to slow down when they see emergency crews on the side of the road.
Experts recommend people take part in the 3-minute interval training 5 days a week. Just 3 minutes.
3 minutes
That's
a day.
all
I can
it
do
requires.
that. I can do that.
3 minutes.
There it is. That's it. I'm starting tonight. The optimist in me would be like, yo, you know what, Ray? We're going to get through this. We're going to work it out. We're going to make it happen, man.
We got this.
And this segment of Words of Wisdom from Rob is sponsored by...
Yes. Stay positive. You can achieve your goals. Dream the impossible.
I got a new traffic steady cam this
The
way.
impossible dream.
I'm winning. I'm winning. But yes, they are all really the winners tonight. They're actually enjoying it. Teachers from Henrico, Richmond, Chesterfield, and Hanover. Ladies, we thank you. We hope you have a great year. If anybody could give us any advice about this year, what would you want to give the parents?
Stay involved with your child's classroom. Build that relationship with your teacher early.
All right, there you go. That's good advice. That's good advice. Now we're going to toss it over to Zach, who's been stuffing his face, and maybe he'll do some weather right now.
I'm very thankful to Dr. Duncan for catching me in time.
Raymond Richardson is a 68-year-old retiree who worked 27 years for the Petersburg Police Department. Back in 2017, he suffered a serious health issue related to hypertension or high blood pressure. His doctor referred to it as the widowmaker. It's called that because,
According to him, with that, it can kill you. Your wife will be a widow.
hypertension is also called the silent killer because it has no obvious symptoms. And according to Dr. Philip Duncan, a cardiologist for Heart Care for You in Chester, that isn't the problem.
It's the fact that it's the leading cause of stroke, it's a leading cause of heart failure, and the leading cause of kidney failure.
Black men are twice as likely to have and almost 60% more likely to die from a stroke as compared to white adults, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This is a major reason why black men die at an earlier age, but it can be treated.
Watching what you eat and activity, because lots of things that occur are silent. They occur over time. So prevention's number one. Number two is you can't fix what you don't know about. So getting regular evaluations, getting blood pressure checked. 122 over 80.
What is
That's
that?
good. 122 over 80.
Which is what Richardson does regularly, to the point where he now no longer suffers from high blood pressure.
This has changed my life for the better quite a bit, health-wise. Believe me, it has.
And another thing that the doctor had recommended is, like, a lot of people are just scared to go to the doctor's office. We see that a lot in the black community. You can't be scared, because if you don't know, it can really hurt you in the end.
The sooner you find out, the quicker you can get to work. If there's a problem, there might not even be a problem.
And then if you don't know, and speaking of which, I actually sat down with a doctor. He checked my blood pressure.
How you doing?
Well, to my surprise, I learned that I actually have a type of hypertension.
Oh, wow.
I actually was measured, he actually checked my blood pressure. I was 138 over 88, which is actually too high. It's a little over the average. So I was surprised to learn that. So now he says I have to be more active. I try to exercise regularly, but he says I just got to watch what I eat, and then I can maintain a regular, healthy lifestyle, and I can lower my blood pressure.
So you learned something from doing this story.
Yeah, I learned something from doing this story. I went out and got my blood pressure checked, and now I learned it's a little too high.
Great lesson. Hopefully a lot of people follow your lead.
Go out and check. Go out and check. Yeah, better to be safe.
Yes, thanks, Rob. Tomorrow, the boulevard will officially be renamed the Arthur Ashe Boulevard in honor of the tennis legend and his legacy.
Our Rob Desir spoke with Ash's brother today ahead of the celebrations, and it's an interview you'll only see here on CBS 6. Rob?
Bill, Candace, about 30 members of Arthur Ashe's family and close friends are expected to participate in the Boulevard name dedication. One of those members includes Arthur's younger brother, who made a major sacrifice that allowed the Tennis Hall of Famer's career to thrive.
You know, that is a pretty good likeness of him. It really is. They did a good job with this.
Johnny Ashe has seen a lot of dedications of his brother, tennis legend Arthur Ashe. But this is the first time he's seen the tunnel mural at Battery Park in his brother's memory that was painted back in 2017. Ashe, who now resides in Florida, is back in Richmond to see another honor for his late brother, as the city will rename the boulevard Arthur Ashe Boulevard.
Now, the boulevard made sense because you have the Arthur Ashe Center already there.
Along with that, he hopes the name change will do what his older brother always set out to do: inspire the youth.
You know, when a child passes on the boulevard, they will ask, who is Arthur Ashe? And they will do a little reading, you know, a little studying to find out who he was, what he stood for, what he accomplished.
While Johnny won't take credit for all of his brother's accomplishments, he did volunteer for his second tour of duty in Vietnam so that Arthur, who was at West Point, could play tennis in 1967. He even came back home to tell his father at Battery Park, where he used to work.
And Daddy said to me, "What are you doing home early?" And I simply said to him, "Daddy, I'm going back to Vietnam for second tour." And he said, "Why?" I said, "So Arthur doesn't have to go."
That allowed Arthur to go on and become the first black man to win the U.S. Open in 1968. Arthur even called Johnny after that match.
I said, "Well, bro, you did it." He says, "Yeah, I'm a champion now. And when I speak, people will listen."
Now, Arthur didn't even learn about Johnny's decision to serve that second tour until years later. Johnny also said if he didn't do anything else with his life, he made it possible for Arthur to accomplish something. And
Wow.
Arthur Ashe even put that in his book to talk about what he learned about what his brother did for him.
So selfless.
They had no idea at the time.
They
It's
had
incredible.
no idea.
Yeah, Julie, behind me alongside Broad Street in Scott's Addition is a mural of Bernie Sanders. Now, the owner of that building allowed the artist to paint the wall at no charge in 2016. As a matter of fact, the owner even provided a lift to help the artist because he admired his work that much, and so do city officials.
You may not know artist Michael Broth by name or face, but perhaps you've driven by, lived below, or have even eaten at a popular local restaurant in Carytown featuring one of his pieces.
Most people know the work at Mellow Mushroom. That's very like cartoony illustration, has a lot of connections with history and like local culture.
Now Broth is moving to a new genre, thanks in part to the Richmond Public Art Commission.
This is the 1 inch to 1 foot model. Pretty good idea of what the final piece will look like. The final piece will be about 18 feet tall, 15 to 18 feet tall.
This week, the department awarded Broth a $50,000 commission for this sculpture he calls Perfect Bound. It will sit at the Hull Street Branch Public Library.
The call for art really wanted something unique and engaging with bright and vibrant colors to draw people in, and Michael's work has been reflective of that.
Not bad for a former graffiti artist who was arrested and served 10 months in jail for tagging a railroad bridge on I-295 in Hanover County back in 2004. Now his work is sought after, a thought Broth appreciates.
I want to be a positive member of the community. I want, to create things that people benefit from in some way.
Now, the sculpture at the Hull Street Branch is expected to be completed this coming summer. And Broth also says he saved part of that award money for a special dedication for the children at the library when it's completed.